And the thing is, with that, and I've tried to show it in other videos as well, people say that's nonsense, how can you talk to an angel? But if you've got a scientific mind, it's very easy. You say a photon carries messages and information and travels on an angle of light, and in ancient time an angel is a messenger of light. It's two forms of language combined to show a scientific fact, and it just means that I've been lucky enough to have very positive photons on very positive angles of light come to me in life, or be attracted to me from my behaviour, perhaps through fasting and prayer, to guide me to where I should go. And in my mind and in my heart, that is an angel. And when I close my mind and I have my mind expressing things in the physical realm it's only ever known, then it's very easy for me to imagine this photon on an angle of light coming down as a, if I want to, as a winged being to carry a message with his voice, because I don't see photons. And when I close my mind, I can see images of photons I've seen on the internet and stuff, like textbook drawings and so on, to depict what it is. But it's very easy, much easier to see that. And I've had visions as well myself of angels guarding the area, a typical angel. Now, I'm not saying that is what an angel looks like. I'm not saying they're a man with wings, but my five-sense mind of the reality I've lived in finds it easier to do it that way than to imagine a photon coming from somewhere in a realm I don't understand, in a reality I don't understand, and in a microscopic world that's far too small that my eyes were ever designed to see. Hey guys, I wasn't sure whether to record this. I know most of you know that I've been ill, and I'm still very drawn and cloudy headed and low energy from that, and I often feel that when I have to listen to a person who's not got that much energy, that I sense it, and it makes you switch off from what they're saying. So I worried I would do a disservice to anything I would talk about. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about it while it's fresh in my reality, before it gets lost and caught up in everything else that's going on here. So I want to talk about a subject which many people, if you're very skeptical and down the middle, will switch off straight away, and so be it. But I would hope you stick with me for a few minutes and hear me out, because I think it's an important topic. Because there's actually the problem, I think, before I mention what the topic is, the problem we have in society is we have all ages of language tied together, and some of the old ages and more romantic way of calling things, or the ancient terms that we use for things, are lost in translation, or they have been given new literal, very literal, straightforward translation in modern language, and people haven't thought about them. Now, my example being that if you fast, you can overcome addictions. Many addictions, not any, I dare say. I don't know, maybe any. Many though, nicotine addictions, alcohol addictions. Fasting has been proven to reset the body and allow it to overcome those mental patterns and habits. In ancient times it was said, this kind of demon cometh out except through fasting and prayer. So addiction and demon should be paired together, but people don't think too far into it. They hear demon and they say pointy-headed monster. So the other day I had a term throw at me, not in a negative way, and thank you for leaving the comment, because I replied with what this video is about. It's been in my mind. They asked, after I'd been sick, they said, I thought you were beyond the concept of magic and Satan. Now, Satan is used here to determine the negative goings on in a person. Sometimes if people don't have a scientific explanation, or there is too big a coincidence to be explained away with mathematical chance, then people will add in the term Satan. Now, when it's negative, the impact it has. Now, I too, when there's too big a mathematical possibility for something to be coincidental, will say that there's a spiritual happening going on, be it positive or negative. Now, many of you know I talk to angels, I've communed with angels, I talk with God. And people contest it and say, no, it's not possible. But it's in following angels that allowed me to now provide education for over 600 children, medical care, housing, to build an off-the-grid community which houses 21 children from varying disabilities to abilities, many with special needs, as you know, open a centre for street-involved children with 21 children, rescue the dogs, so on and so forth. This is because I followed a sign from speaking with angels. And the thing is, with that, and I've tried to show it in other videos as well, people say that's nonsense, how can you talk to an angel? If you've got a scientific mind, it's very easy. You say a photon carries messages and information and travels on an angle of light, and in ancient time an angel is a messenger of light. It's two forms of language combined to show a scientific fact, and it just means that I've been lucky enough to have very positive photons on very positive angles of light come to me in life, or be attracted to me from my behaviour, perhaps through fasting and prayer, to guide me to where I should go. And in my mind and in my heart, that is an angel. And when I close my mind and I have my mind expressing things in the physical realm it's only ever known, then it's very easy for me to imagine this photon on an angle of light coming down if I want to, as a winged being to carry a message with his voice, because I don't see photons. And when I close my mind, I can see images of photons I've seen on the internet and stuff, like textbook drawings and so on to depict what it is. But it's very easy, much easier to see that. And I've had visions as well myself of angels guarding the area, a typical angel. Now, I'm not saying that is what an angel looks like. I'm not saying they're a man with wings, but my five-sense mind of the reality I've lived in finds it easier to do it that way than to imagine a photon coming from somewhere in a realm I don't understand, in a reality I don't understand, and in a microscopic world that's far too small that my eyes were ever designed to see. So it's easy for us to understand where the idea of a winged being carrying a message came from, because indeed my message did come on an angle of light, and it did come from somewhere we don't know, a corner of the universe that we're not aware of, or perhaps a part of the sun. Who knows where that beam came from that told me to come here? But it came, and it brought a message. And however you want to describe and envision that beam is up to you. But it did. And when I believe and know that to be, I can only presume that sometimes negative messages on bad angles of light arrive here as well. And I think those negative messages on bad angles of light are the things that allow the lower self to manifest itself in such negative ways, but also can allow other persons to see things in a very different way, and to perhaps call upon universal laws within our five-sense reality that we all have and we must abide by to exist within these bodies, to manipulate them to a negative benefit, which we do see happening more literally in science when we see people manipulating the physical laws of the universe that God has created to create weapons and bombs and so on and so forth, or weaponized chemical weapons and stuff of this nature. So we know this can happen, the physical manipulation of energy. But what about the manipulation of energy in another way? And this is where people say magic. But there's a beautiful, one of my most favourite sayings is a Roald Dahl quote. It's a longer quote, but the core of it: those who don't believe in magic will never find it. It's actually, look to the world with twinkling eyes. For those who don't believe in magic will never find it. It's dependent upon how you understand reality. You can always try and cut into it and explain it in a scientific way. Now, I mentioned in my other videos that here people were praying for me to keep Satan at bay. Now, I also mentioned that just as this began and my sickness began, we got an anonymous text message about witchcraft. Now, I take witchcraft very seriously here, more so because I are men tasked by God to protect these children. And these children are wanted and hunted in Tanzania to be in witchcraft ceremonies. However diabolical and crazy it sounds, it is just still a matter of months since children were brought to me by the police who could not offer them 24-hour protection because witch doctors were trying to kidnap the children to sacrifice them because they believed the dark energies would reward them greatly for doing so because the children are free of sin. So on a very physical level, of course, in my life, every single day, witchcraft is an important thing. Even if I am to believe in it or not, the fact that persons in Tanzania believe in it means I have to take security measures to protect the children that God has entrusted in my care. But what about caring about witchcraft in a real sense, as in does it happen? Well, first of all, we need to work out, is witchcraft real? Can it happen? Magic, positive or negative magic, can it happen? And my short answer is yes, it can happen. And you'd only be ridiculous to say it can't. The problem is that you're using the word magic. Magic is a way to explain something that can't be explained by science yet, like a miracle, for example. Be it black magic or white magic, as people say, positive or negative. Something that badly happens to someone and we don't want to explain, or we can't explain with science, we'd say that's a negative magic going on. Someone's done some sort of dark witchcraft there. Something amazing and healing going on, you can say it was just a magical healing. Now, I've seen both here. That's the problem I've got. But I'm also knowledgeable enough to pull many things together and to say, okay, let's look at this with some science. Knowing that language has shifted and the word magic should now be used to say an unexplainable event. Take away the word magic from it, first of all. It's no fun to take away the word magic from it, but take it away and look at what the word magic means to most. I'm talking about magic tricks on a stage, but to most, something unexplainable. Now, when you have a little bit of knowledge and have a little look around, you can see things that are very important. And to me, one thing I replied on this YouTube comment, which is important, is the work of a doctor, is it Masura or Masura Emoto, I believe. Correct me if I pronounced his name wrong. He's Japanese. Dr. Masura Emoto. Now, he did work using a microscope that takes pictures. And what he did was he exposed water to different energies, be it music or words and even intentions. And he took pictures of the water whilst that was happening. He also took normal water sample pictures. Now, he didn't just take pictures of still water. It was so zoomed in, he was taking pictures of the molecules, the building blocks of the water. Now, when he took pictures of these, I don't know what the correct term is, water cell, is it? I don't know. Water cell? When he took pictures of under the microscope of this water, you would see what looked like a snowflake. Beautiful geometry that forms the water. Not alien to us, the concept, because we know frozen water looks this way. Now, you can research his work. He has many books. He has talks on the internet as well. And it's stunning work. But what happened was he exposed this water to beautiful healing music and classical music, and it always had a very beautiful form. Then he exposed it to very heavy, music that wouldn't help you to find your center, like heavy metal and stuff like this. And it was a very different form, not as beautiful to look at under the microscope at all. But then he exposed it to intentions and words. He exposed it to words like thank you, and it took on a beautiful form. He exposed it to words such as I want to hurt you and stuff of this nature, and more aggressive words. In fact, I just can't bring myself to say them because I'm in a peaceful place. But what this showed was the intention has power. Now, we know intentions have powers if we think about it. You don't do anything without setting an intention, so an intention's a powerful force. It was my intention that brought me here after being told to come here by God and his angels. It was my intention to come here that did it. It was my intention to build this that built it, with God's help. I didn't do it by myself, of course. I'm not saying I did this alone, because I never say I did. But it was intention played a huge role in that. You must set your intentions to do these things. Now, this water experiment shows and proves that the shape of water is changed by our intention, by music, by the words we speak, by even written words which have an intention behind them. It has a profound effect on the water directly in front of it. It changes its shape. Now, when a human body is made up of 80% water, or whatever the true percentage is, you hear so many, I'm never quite sure what the truth is about it. Argument's sake, 80 to 90% water. You can see that that water is going to behave in the same way that the water in that experiment will. That's why when you're in a room with someone who doesn't like you, if you're sensitive enough, you feel it. And you're like, I'm just going to stay away from this person because they don't have good intentions or vibes towards me, good thoughts towards me. Now, what if someone is really loving towards you? You want to be around them. You can't leave their side. It's addictive, because if you look at it in his experiment, the water in your body is in a perfect, beautiful, symmetrical geometry, which clearly, even visually, must be better for you than the state of this poisoned water and stuff that was in the experiment. If these things, music and intentions, can do this to water, and your body is made of water, then what can intentions do to you and your feeling and your mood and your health? So we have that. That's a scientific proof that the intention set by a human being can adjust the state of water. This is a fact. Now, a human is made up of water, so we can only presume that the intention of another can adjust the state of the water inside the human. And when the water is you, then it can adjust your state with it. So keeping that in mind, these experiments were done by playing music on top of water for hours, or by doing it directly to a sample of water, a portion of water, a cup of water, or whatever. Then just take a little step to one side and think about quantum physics and what quantum physics tells us. Quantum physics clearly teaches us that the energy fields that exist within our whole energy fields are all intertwined in some way. Human consciousness, for example, the energy of humans, for all many of us, many of you out there will be still separated as your personality and ego, and you won't understand that you are part of a unified energy field. And for you guys, you have work to do. You have fasting and praying and something to bring down the Gestapo of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, so as you can come into that space of unity with all things, and you can understand that you need the ground to walk on. If you don't have a ground to walk on, then you can't walk. So it's as much you as you are it, so you're not separate from it. You're not separate from the trees that allow you to breathe in a more obvious manner. You're obviously not separate from the earth, which nourishes you with the food which you then eat to live. It is all one. But the same goes for all energy fields. The energy fields around us have a union. There's a oneness within them. This is a scientific fact of quantum physics, that our energies are unified inside a quantum energy field, which is our reality. Vibration, shapes, light, sound, atoms, photons, as I before mentioned. If it is all one, and we know that you can adjust the shape of water with an intention, then who knows if people can't master the use of certain energies? We see that in science, we physically master the use of energies in negative ways to create weaponry. We physically take on a very physical level that which we can touch and see of the five senses. We take metal and we take powders and we take chemicals and we create weapons and bombs and guns and so on and so forth. This is a very physical way of taking parts of the energy field around you, the physical energy and matter around you, to create something. But then what about that which you can't see? Your emotions, your thoughts, that which exists, without a doubt exists, but you don't see it, you don't touch it, but you know it's there. You know it's inside you, but if someone operates on you, they can't touch your thoughts and your wants and your ambitions. What if people have learned how to take hold of that part of reality, the part you can't see? And one of my dogs has come to say hello. What if they have learned how to control that and can send something to another person through that connected energy field? It is not impossible. If that energy field of your mind is connected to the energy field of another person's mind by another energy field, and you learn how to control that energy field, to control the energy field between you to that next energy field, you can influence that other person. It's very simple to say that, at the very least, the possibility within our reality exists for this. Because beyond our five senses, there are vibrations going on all around us that we can't see and interpret and feel. But some people are more sensitive than others. Some humans are more developed than others. Some humans have flicked their switch a little better, and they have tithed and given up their 10%. They have given up their left brain, and they are on, as esoteric speaks, the right hemisphere, which means you flick on that dormant percentage of your brain, so all at once everything's working at once. What skills have been learned then through meditation? And for those who have done it in a negative way, what can they do? Now some say magic, it's to be scoffed at, but I can look at science and, hold on, sorry, I can look at science and I can say without any doubt that the opportunity to carry out that which a more romantic language would call magic exists within the rules of quantum physics and within the rules of the reality we live in, be it in a negative way or a positive way. Some people can heal others by manipulating their energy field because their energy fields are one, but they have gotten around the idea that they are separate, so they have more control over it. Other people who have realized this, unfortunately, might operate in a more negative fashion. They might call on negative aspects of the energy field, for all energy is positive and negative, male and female, within this reality. That is just how it is. They might call on that, and in calling on that, they might be able to influence a person's health. They might be able to send a negative intention to the body of a person who's a distance away, using some means of circumnavigating the energy fields we can't see that are connecting all of us right now. And in doing so, when that intention reaches the person, to give the example of Dr. Emoto, they might disrupt the water cells in that person's body and change beautiful geometry into something very ugly, and with it change the emotional body of a person and the physical body and the health body and the mental body of a person into something very ugly. And this is why I believe in magic. First and foremost, I've seen magic. I've seen things science can't explain. But I've also seen things positive and negative, unfortunately. So I believe it can be used for good or bad. But that is just one of the gifts that God gave to humans. And unfortunately, many of us are lost without a moral compass. So some humans have the gift to do this, and other humans have the gift to do it positively. Others have the gift to do it negatively. Sorry guys, Fritzy took a call and my mind went, and then the dog started, so I dropped it. I cut it off and started from this point again. Anyway, so without a doubt, some people can tune into these energy fields, and in doing so, we see people healing others, providing comfort for others. We all know a person who can come into a room and just lift the energy of a room. They are emitting something into that energy field of the room. But what about those persons not operating from the higher self and operating from the lower self? And how long a distance can they do it over? And this is where the concept of magic and black magic white magic, black magic, positive magic, negative magic, should not be scoffed at. Now, I'm not saying I was attacked by witchcraft. I'm just saying the coincidence was uncanny, that's all. This person also said about me believing in the concept of Satan. I don't believe in a pointy-headed being called Satan. I believe Satan to be the lower self of a human. I believe humans to be very powerful beings. But I also believe humans can be influenced by the energy that manifests within the lower self of humans, and that energy exists without of human beings. So perhaps that energy has its own consciousness and its own ability to send its own photons, just as we have angels coming and giving us direction, as with I, who followed the call from an angel to come here. That's what I did. Contest it if you want. Many will, and many do. And say you just followed this and you did this, and it wasn't I. I followed a calling from something I can't understand, and I call it an angel. I was told to do this by an energy I couldn't see. Now, what are other people told by energies that they can't see that are negative energies is my question, because they are in a lower vibratory state. When I was fasting and in a higher place is when God called me with an angel and said, come to Tanzania. What about people who are not fasting? What about people who are alcoholic and taking lots of drugs and in the lowest, most bogged down state they can be in? What energy can speak to them? What photon can get through to them? And what fallen angel, bad angle of light can get to them? So I do believe in the concept of Satan, but I don't believe that there's a pointy-headed man out there whispering on my shoulder. I see things very differently because I have an understanding, a little understanding on quantum physics and energy fields, etc. And I can understand that an energy can influence another living entity without a shadow of a doubt, because we are energy fields vibrating within energy fields, so of course you can disrupt these things. There is technology, there are weapons to disrupt energy fields in people to make them step away from things, and ultrasonic, or to even implant certain thought trains in the mind. This technology exists. It's not just science fiction. So, of course, I believe in the word Satan is used to label the negative behavior of the lower self. As the Bible says, Satan's number is 666, which is human consciousness, which is the lower level of human consciousness. It's the higher level and lower level of human consciousness channeling the energy fields around us to manifest into the actions of their daily lives. That brings about our daily lives. But what if a lower energy has manifested in someone and they are then setting about to send a negative energy to another person and to disrupt their water? In Emoto's scientific research to show that disrupt the water molecules in a person's body, then I would only say that I would label that energy Satan, or just say the lower energy did that to a person, to do that to another person, to bring them down, to battle them, using in ancient terms magic, using in modern terms energy work, however you want to describe it. And this is why I have a lot of time for the word magic, and this is why I don't just believe in magic, I've seen magic. And this is why witchcraft is a big part of my life on every level. Physically, I must guard against those who believe that harming my children brings them rewards. Energetically, it seems I must guard as well, because the knowledge I have shows me that if someone is powerful enough and in line and in tune enough with the energy fields, then they could do me damage by disrupting the water cells within my body and making them take a much uglier form, which can surely only affect the rest of my mood, etc. Okay, just wanted to say that anyway. I hope I haven't been too long and drawn out. I feel exhausted now, so I'm going to go and get some rest. So, much love, guys.